Hey. Time for another out of this world story from rSpace. Finally found out that my girlfriend of 10 plus years and fiancé of 4 years has been cheating on me for the last 3 years after deciding to put all of our money into purchasing a house. Yesterday morning, a man 5 years younger than me, 30, appeared in my driveway screaming. I walked to see my fiancé outside and this man claiming to be shocked that the woman he's been dating for 3 years has a house, a dog, and a boyfriend. He left after saying his piece while I was outside with the two of them. My girlfriend and I have been together for 10 years. We've had ups and downs and got engaged while I was away in grad school. When I came back to live with her, I noticed something was different. We just weren't incredibly close and didn't feel the intimacy we had previously, but promised each other to work on it. Things got better and eventually we decided instead of having a wedding, we wanted to use the money we saved up and that our family would be gifting us to buy a house. After a year into living in the house and her fighting with me for years about letting her be independent and letting her have nights out with her friends, I find out she's had a relationship with this other guy. 4 years. I don't know what to do. Our lives are so intertwined and we have this amazing house in both of our names and an amazing dog. She hasn't denied anything and has seemingly been telling me the truth about this guy, that he filled a void in her life that I wasn't filling, that she did it because she wanted to feel wanted again and something about her feeling young again. I think our situation has been a lot on her and she wanted a chance to feel like she was in college again or something, I don't know. Not really fair to me. She said she wants us to work, but I just can't get the image of her and this lie out of my head. I love our life and our families and our house, but I don't know if I can ever love her again. Help me, please. We have a response from Sampa2NYC. Please get yourself into some individual counseling. You may have severe codependency issues. Do not fall for the sunk cost fallacy. The woman you think you love does not exist. It was her mask. You are still young, are not married, and don't have any kids. Your girlfriend basically led a double life of 3 years and when exposed, blamed you for her betraying you. This is indicative of who she really is. Save yourself. Sell the house and move on. It hurts and will be difficult, but eventually you will find someone who has the emotional and intellectual maturity as well as the integrity to have a loving long-term relationship. The Sky Still Stands has some additional thoughts. She's making excuses. The void in herself that she was using him to fill is a void that she was supposed to fill. We're not supposed to walk around being hollow people using everyone else to make us feel like we're whole. Everyone has stress. Everyone has a lot on them. Not everyone lies to and betrays their partner. If her idea of feeling you again involves cheating, do you think she'll do it less as she gets older? Cheating is a deal breaker. It's literally right there in the name. There were rules in your relationship and she broke the most intimate one. If you wanted your relationship to work, would you do that? She only told you because you were there when her boyfriend showed up. That's not a good sign. If you can't love her again, why stay with her? Why not give that love to yourself and someone else, rather than waste it on someone that it will never be enough for? She has to learn to fill the voids in herself all by herself, or she will keep using people. Time for the update. I decided to spend the weekend apart from her after finding out the news. I confided in some friends who gave me some solid advice, but basically told me that I shouldn't make any rash decisions one way or the other, to sit and feel these emotions, but not try to let them rule your life and to expect freaking answers. I know my girlfriend treated me like absolute crap, but I do not hate her or want her dead. I know this sounds weird and may be indicative of losing that feeling of love for her, but I don't want her to die on a curb. I just want honesty and for us to be honest with ourselves. I want the courage to make the honest decision for myself, first and foremost. We talked a lot in the last days between each other and have fought about her justifying what she did. It cannot be justified, but it did let us know what is wrong between us. I am seeing a separate independent therapist and a couples therapist with her this week. But this week, I took off of work and told her I am heading to the beach. I decided we need time apart to settle our emotions and get clear-headed. She has been really hammering me with the guilt of the things that I have done to her over the years, and although there's some truth to that, I think she needs to look in the freaking mirror. Also, a thing that I noticed is she's more defensive about her actions and scared of losing the house to me and being labeled the one who cheated versus how I feel as the person who had their life turned upside down. And that's telling. So this week, I am leaving her with all of the responsibilities that I usually do. The things she doesn't come close to understanding, the things I do around the house. I know you all have your pitchforks out and want me to dump her bad and make it a big evil thing, but that's just not how I am. I would rather make a sound decision, and once I do that, feel good about the decision. And if it's to leave her the way I will make her feel as bad as I did, it will be, because I have become a better person because of her awful actions, and she will be miserable seeing that person who she could have been with. Franz83 has a reaction. Some considerations that may help you take a sound decision. So, adult, honest, mature partners make you sit in a chair and have a discussion whenever there's a potentially serious issue affecting the relationship. If said issue is unfixable, respectable and honest people do leave. These people would never backstab you. On the other hand, people who serially cheat on you for years display dishonesty, selfishness, and innate capacity of telling lies and manipulate, inability to communicate, lack of integrity and profound cowardice. They have no issues to backstab you. These people have no issue to abandon you for a new shiny toy they lined up behind your back, possibly for months. Think about what it takes to do this kind of dirty to another human being. Yes, serial cheaters are not pretty people. They're bad, very bad. Now think about that. Do you want to get old with a person that you know is capable of cheating on you, having affairs behind your back, and able to do all of this for years without a flinch? Do you realize that with such a person you'll always have to look behind your back? Or, said differently, you won't be able to trust them because you know they're capable of monstrous actions that can be triggered by literally anything? Do you really want this kind of life? Look, in a long-term relationship, there are always some kinds of issues. Even the best relationships have some minor problems because long-term relationships are hard work. But honest and mature partners discuss and deal with them because they care about each other. On the other hand, your partner's cheating is 100% on her shoulders, and it's a symptom of very grave character flaws that have very little to do with you and the quality of your relationship. And cheating, having affairs, is absolutely horrible because it traumatizes the person being cheated on. If I were you, I would ponder on the above points and think if salvaging a relationship is really worth the effort, especially considering that you've been cheated on for so many years and your girlfriend doesn't appear to show any remorse. On the contrary, she's blaming her cheating on you. On to the next story. Giving up after 10 years feels like letting her down. My wife, 28, and I, 28, were high school sweethearts. It still feels like this is just a story about us. We have 2 kids, 4 male and 5 female. We have been together for 11 years and married 5. We dated in high school for over a year before we moved in together. We had fantasized about it together as kids do. We didn't know what we were getting into. I would move heaven and earth for this girl. She was everything I ever wanted. It was real love, and I didn't know what to do with it. In the first few months of our relationship, 16 years old, she cheated with one of her friends. We were in a fight. Even at that age, I knew how young and dumb we were. It struck me as a childish mistake. We reconciled. I should have just left, but I don't blame myself for not knowing better. We had dreams together that we couldn't afford when we left high school. Tried to go to college, but couldn't work full shifts and classes full time, so we failed. We got to keep the debt. We never had enough money, but it never seemed to bother us. We could still save up a few $100s for a couple weekend trips a year. She was dishonest about everything. Her not wanting to tell me the smallest thing because she was insecure about how others viewed her led to a many long night, running the worst through my mind, just to find out she didn't want me to know she smoked weed alone. There was thousands of instances like this, together for 3,700 days, and not a day went by that I didn't know she was hiding something. It was always revealed to be something stupid. When we were 18, she had an emotional affair with a coworker. I caught her, told her to end it, and we reconciled. Again in my head, we're just dumb kids. The cheating stopped when my hypervigilance began. Still, there was constant deceit that made it impossible to trust her, but I stayed. We are growing. I know I have been changing. She must be too. Between then and turning 22, life was mundane. We paid the bills, tried to save, took some trips, enjoyed each other's company. But even in this stage, communication was breaking down. I had no idea how traumatized I was by her past mistakes. I lost interest in keeping tabs on her. I don't know what happened in this period, but she did seem to be more invested in the relationship than before. It may have been the best time we had together, but I can't remember it because of the constant fear I was in. We had our kids back to back at 22 and 23. I told her it wasn't a good idea. I already felt so tired. We were too young. I don't know crap about kids. She couldn't bring herself to not keep it. I love this woman. I'm not going to try to talk her into an abortion. She would never forgive me. My daughter was born, and she is incredible. Rinse and repeat the next year with my amazing son. She impressed the hell out of me. She worked the whole time, never seemed to even struggle. I found it hard to help her because she was so good at it. I fell in love with her all over again those years. She was awesome. Our kids slept between us for the next 4 years. Intimacy was impossible. We found time to have sex fairly regularly, but it became planned, not the same. We were always mom and dad. The people we were had slowly started to fade out of memory, but the fear never did. We discussed moving the kids, but her postpartum was difficult, and I didn't want to cause her pain. When my son was 3, I finally got them into their own room. By that time, it was too late. We went through the motions, but I couldn't get her to connect with me like we used to. Eventually, I gave up too. Communication has been at an all-time low these last 2 years. Most of the time, not even fighting. Sharing generalities about our lives, talking about the kids, laughing together was the best part of these times. Even that started to fade. Since January, she has been distancing herself even more. I noticed, but I was suffering an extreme mental toll and couldn't save us this time. I would come out from bed after having nightmares and panic attacks related to a work incident, begging her to come to bed. This lasted for a month before I gave up and suffered alone. I cried myself to sleep most of those nights. January was when she started the emotional affair that she would allow to consume her and bring us down. When she told me 3 months ago she wanted to leave, I was planning to talk about recommitting. I had admitted to her all of my insecurities and failings, admitted how I didn't trust her for so long, and that caused me to become cold. I showed her time and time again that things could be amazing. We were so dumb for so long. Look how easy it can be. At this point, she was already sleeping with him. I told her when she left, just tell me when you start something new. It will hurt, but it beats sitting here hoping. She promised she would, but she had already been involved with someone else for months. I had to deal with her living in my home during this time, leaving our house to see him, but it wasn't my business anymore. Eventually, I got sick of the obvious deceit plastered on her face, and I did something I haven't done in 8 years. I looked through everything she owns. She listened to me begging her to come to bed. She stayed in the living room so she could text her 21-year-old manager all night while I contemplated suicide alone. She knew. I know I wasn't perfect. I know I gave into the fear and trauma. I know it changed me into a bad partner. But I also know that wasn't me. I know it was brought on by her actions and failure to make up for them. But I still can't shake the feeling that I let her down. Maybe we both let each other down, but I don't think I deserved this. Let's get some reaction from the community. First up, third Duke of Stags. It's all on her. It really is. You aren't letting anyone down. You're accepting reality and giving up hope that the past could have ever been different. That's very honest and brave of you. And it is what it is. This woman is just going to have to learn hard lessons. In the end, it sounds like you have given it your all, and that is really admirable, and all society could ask for. Sometimes you have to let go of the person falling. I'm sorry. The OP responds, "You made me cry. I had no idea how badly I needed to hear that. Even coming from an online stranger, it hit so hard. Thanks so much." Third Duke of Stags responds again, "You're welcome. And it can be great to cry sometimes. Always feel the emotions, especially the hard ones. I used to literally swallow my feelings and developed thyroid issues. So the only way out is through. Like dying, this heartbreak is something that has to be passed through, and passed through alone. Just breathe in and let go. Never be afraid to reach out for help, but definitely realize that this is nothing but a huge hurdle to overcome, and only you by yourself can jump over, even if it's scary. Acknowledging that the relationship has met its end is the first step to life you always wanted and maybe thought you had. I've been telling myself the same thing. But really, you're doing the best that you can in this situation, and every day will get easier. Eventually, you will be able to take away huge pieces of knowledge and life experience from this and appreciate it for what it is, no matter what your decision is. Take this entire thing as an opportunity to find happiness, rediscover who you are, and practice your virtues. Patience, grace, humbleness. But don't let her actions dim you.